and welcome to episode 40 of the Thunder Gals. Notice I put in the
40,
40 in there. Um,
0, 0. Why
Zero.
would we ever be talking about that?
I got my
We'll
zero
talk
on
about
as
that.
well. So that's definitely going to be a big part of today's show, obviously. We do
Clearly.
want to get any negative, dumb news out of the way first. So,
Because it's been a
Enes,
busy 2 weeks.
Enes Kanter, somebody who was part of the Stash Bros, and he was fun when it was like Steve-O and him were the fun, like big men having fun together. He has decided to become a tool of some bad faith political actors and doing some nonsense, claiming that because the collective bargaining agreement in the WNBA doesn't define what a woman is, that he's declaring himself a woman and declaring for the WNBA draft. It's just so ridiculous. For one, trans women have been allowed to play in like NCAA and Olympic events since about the year 2000 is when policies were put in place regarding hormone levels and number of months you had to have been on hormones and living and presenting as your authentic self before you could qualify to even get into the women's division. And in all those years that those qualifications were in there, zero trans women or even like major Division I NCAA players, let
Yeah.
alone getting drafted into the WNBA. So this
Hmm.
is truly a solution in search of a problem, because this is not a problem that's real or existing. And it seems the only real threat to women's sports is crazy men like Enes Kanter, who now is Enes Kanter Freedom, I guess. And yeah, I guess he's for freedom for him, but not for others, maybe. I don't know. Just what a weirdo.
He's I don't know what's going on in his mind. I don't know who he's listening to. I do know that when he started having troubles with his homeland, that he was reaching out for assistance, and some people across the aisles, tried to assist, and then it became a situation where the only people that would help him were people that didn't always have the most popular opinions. And then he was able to get onto, he was invited onto, Fox and invited to these things to speak, and people were paying attention to him for their own means, but he was the kind of person that took that and
Yeah.
and has ran with it. And so now that's where his perceived loyalties lie. That's where he can get attention and feedback, and that's where he is. I He's still a Thunder legend. Yes, I know Legend is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I get that.
I mean,
But
the
it's an
Stash
honorarium.
Bros, we can't, like, that was a fun part of our history at one
It
time.
was,
Um,
and it's,
I
oh,
I
I wish we
think
had that in us back.
I think you've hit the nail on the head though. The issues between him not being able to go back to Turkey because of the differences he had with Erdogan there, and being part of the Gulenist movement, which I guess the CIA tried to have a secret assassination plot where they were going to try and take out Erdogan and install Gulen, who's a Turkish refugee who'd been hanging out in Pennsylvania for a number of years. And some ridiculous craziness going on with all that. This isn't a politics and world geopolitics history or anything
Mm-mm.
show, so I won't get into all the details, but it ended up with Ennis not being able to have contact with his family. His dad was forced by the Turkish government to put out a statement basically disowning him.
Hmm.
And so Ennis got cut off from the people that were his blood family. And I think you're right. He took whatever attention he could get in the US to fill that void, and there are now, bad faith actors exploiting that relationship with him and trying to use his little bit of fame for their own negative purposes. And unfortunately, he's decided to go along with this and be a useful tool for them. And it's very unfortunate. Glad to see the WNBA just put out a statement fairly quickly this week saying, hey, there is no issue here. There are bad faith actors trying to claim they're declaring, but that's not how this works. So we're not even worried about
Yeah.
it.
But on the plus side, we can talk about positive things that have affected Thunder fans and Thunder players, like our Rook got married this year, got this
It,
summer, August 3rd.
Bennett Sturts, apparently, yes, getting
Yeah.
married, didn't pull a Tyrese Halliburton stringing his woman along or anything.
Now, Tyrese and them did have a big wedding after all, not just a city hall ceremony like originally looked like. So,
Yeah,
but
I saw some new pictures coming out about that. So Tyrese's girl, she got her ring in that Netflix starting five series and
yep.
finally turned that into the marriage that she had been waiting a long time for.
Another positive that was going on was, we talked about JMac was clearing off teachers' lists, their Amazon list, because back to school. Well, iHeart started doing the same thing. So even more teachers have benefited. And, the
Didn't I
positive
hear that
tomorrows,
Chet also was maybe had done a couple as well?
it wouldn't surprise me because I think that it was a really strong initiative. iHeart just really focused on, the positive tomorrows because he's always done so much with his foundation with them. So those have been just some positive impacts that have happened. And then there's been fun things to watch. Like J-Mac has been all over the place. He's been in
Yeah.
Canada with Shay. He's been on runs with Chet and Queso. He's building those relationships this summer.
Yes, he is. And I was really happy to see that because you could tell he really loved joining this team back after the trade
Mhm.
in the spring. And you could see the potential there. And man, after having a whole summer to get to know these guys better, to really ingratiate himself with all the
Mhm.
players on the team, out there working out with Shay, building that chemistry with Shay. I mean,
Mhm.
all the attention that Shay gets on the floor, that's going to mean some open threes for J Mac if he builds up that chemistry right. So
Absolutely. And with the downside of Lou Dort leaving, Queso and moving up and just building strength with that, it's just going to continue with J-Mac having more floor time and I don't know, and I know you saw it. I can't tell you how many times I watched it and I thought this was going to be the only time I cried over a Thunder player this summer. But Lou's going away video, that tribute video was just precious. I was like, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. Ugh.
it was a fitting, like a really fitting video. It really encapsulated his entire time in OKC, from being signed as a two-way player in the summer to being, the star that he became. And the music was right, and it was just the music really pulled the tears out even
It
further.
did. It did.
I can
Oh
almost
man,
feel a tear starting to well up just thinking about it. We sure are gonna miss Lou.
we are. And he'll be back. His return with AWIG is November 18th.
Yeah, so
So,
pretty early in the season too.
yeah,
So they
yeah,
get to make their appearance in OKC pretty early. That'll be their only time in OKC this season, barring a Hawks Thunder NBA Finals.
true.
But
And
hey, you
or
never know. You
you
never
never
know.
know. I mean, they've got the Dortcher Chamber and AWIGS now, and AWIGS did save basketball,
That's right.
so you never know.
But yeah, losing Lou Dort hurts. But on the other hand, like I've said before in our previous episodes, like his playing time was gonna have to diminish
Hmm.
because of Case and Wallace stepping up the way he did in this last year, being the NBA steals leader. Like
Yeah,
there Kaysen clearly has a little more offensive potential than Lou really does. Lou could make those rainbow threes, but he wasn't really a guy you wanted to see driving to the basket and trying to kick out or anything. Because
not
he would
necessarily.
often make some really bad decisions in some of those moments. And so
Mhm.
it was going to mean he was going to get less playing time. And could the Thunder have afforded to keep him on the roster money wise? Sure. Um, but would that have been good for Lou to be potentially moved to the bench? Like, I don't know that he could have continued
Mhm.
being justified as a starter. Would he have accepted that kind of move after being a starting five guy for so long? And it's
No.
his contract year, so then he would have been getting fewer minutes, fewer possibilities to show off for that next contract. And so I think the Thunder did right by Lou by getting him somewhere where that would hopefully get him more playing time and give him a chance to compete for a better contract for his next deal and not have him have to eat, moving to the bench.
I did see that he was already, hanging out with some of his Atlanta teammates. I saw him on the boat, and being a hawk and, caw, caw, going in the water. So you see that he's already making, strides in connecting.
Yes.
So, but it's been
Which,
fun to watch what guys have been doing this summer. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, Jalen Williams. We already knew he was going to hang out with Shea, but did we know he was going to hang out with Shea's trainer?
right. And this is the trainer who, helped Shea with varying ways of dealing with like landings and things to
Hmm.
prevent some of those soft tissue injuries, like hamstring strains and such.
Yeah.
So maybe changing up his training routine might put J-Dub in a better position to not have some of those nagging strains this coming season. Fingers crossed on that one. Um, and I think people have almost forgotten how good J-Dub can be.
Hmm.
Because he played so few games last season
Yeah.
and ended up not really playing in that Spurs series. And when he did, he was clearly hurt and
Yeah.
unable to really contribute. People are talking about, oh, you lost Lou Dort and Wiggins and Joe, but like the minutes that are going to be made up this season just by having a healthy J-Dub and Jared McCain, they're
Yeah.
probably going to take up most of those minutes that we've traded away. Like there's not.
When I first saw, schedule drop this week, when I first saw that we were playing San Antonio game 1, my first thought was, damn it, Adam. But my second thought was, yes, we will have a healthy, knock on wood, J-Dub to play against the Spurs on opening night. That
You know
is,
what? Let's just get it out of the way. Let's get that first meeting in the books, let the chips fall where they may. We all know, no championship is ever won on night one of the season. So, but you can make a statement, just like the Spurs were looking to do last year when they finally got their shot to take on the Thunder. and
Mm-hmm.
they really put a statement game together and made a statement and arrived. This is a chance for the Thunder on night one to go down to San Antonio and ruin the night for the Western Conference champions from last year and send that crowd home quiet.
See, I do not want to have my first post-game wrap on opening night and it be 81 and 1 on the table. I need opening night to be 82 and 0 to start the season. I don't need it 24 times in a row. I just need this
At
one.
least one. At least
At
one.
least one. And we don't, and the NBA Cup, groupings came out. We're not in the San Antonio grouping this year.
Yup.
So we're not going to be down five times potentially heading into the finals next year or the
Well, we could
playoffs
meet them in
against them.
the cup tournament games in the semifinals, maybe.
Yeah, but not as many times.
I mean, I think that would put it to the same number of matchups as last year
Shh.
if it happens.
Listen, I want to be happy that they are not in our groupings, and I want to believe that we are not going to be running headlong into them multiple times. Just
You
let me
know,
live in
we
that just for a
we
few minutes.
probably won't, but we'll let you live in the fantasy.
Listen, listen,
It's a small price to pay.
this is my version of fantasy basketball. I get to imagine we have 37 roster spots that we won't see San Antonio five times in the NBA Cup. I have my version of fantasy,
That's right, and that's okay. That's all
and
right.
that's okay. But with the schedule release,
Yes.
I saw you're going to get a amazing Christmas gift this year.
Yes, the Thunder will be in Minneapolis on Christmas Day to take on the Timberwolves.
Yes.
And usually on Christmas Day, so my husband's family lives in the suburbs of Minneapolis, and we generally do stay there on Christmas. So I will be in the Minneapolis metro area on Christmas Day. And I have already put in a request that my Christmas gift be tickets to said game. So, fingers crossed, I'm able to get those tickets, and
Yes.
I will hopefully be doing a pregame preview from Minneapolis
Yes.
and being able to shoot. We might even have to do some kind of post game show together or something where
Yeah,
I could come
because
in
with
and
you being
report from the
there,
arena.
yes.
That
I
could
would
be fun.
absolutely love that. Yeah, I would love to hear that. That would be because the energy is going to be amazing. And
I
did
I
I
also
hear
saw the
right?
Timberwolves are at OKC the Wednesday of thank before Thanksgiving, and I'm usually in Oklahoma for Thanksgiving.
Look
So
at
there, it's
you.
possible I could see the Wolves and Thunder in both OKC and Minneapolis within like a month's time, maybe. So
That would be amazing. Look at you. That would be. Now, did I understand this right? That this is the first time that the Timberwolves have played on Christmas?
I think they've had Christmas Day games on the road. I think it may
Okay.
be the first time that they have hosted a Christmas Day game.
Could be. I just know that I saw Ant's Christmas commercial so many times that I swear that they've played Christmas Day
I
for like
think
seven
either
years.
last year or the year before, I want to say they played like the Nuggets in a at Denver on the in a late evening Christmas game.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
I wasn't
I'm pretty
certain. Now,
sure. I never have seen them host one at home.
yeah, well, this isn't the Timberwolves gal show, so I'm not going to be completely up on their schedule.
I only started, tangentially following them in 2017 when I moved to Minnesota. So
That's fair
my
though.
my history goes back almost a decade now, but I can't remember during my time up here. They certainly have not hosted one, but I'm pretty sure I've seen them play a road game on Christmas.
Now, I know we're talking about the schedule, and something came out that said that, and people are mad because people are always mad, that the Thunder have the easiest schedule.
Yeah, I mean, that strength of schedule in the NBA is kind of goofy because it's a stat that maybe makes more sense in the NFL and football, where you only play 17 games
Yeah.
and you don't play every team every season. In the NBA, every Western Conference team plays every Eastern Conference team twice.
Hmm.
Every team plays each of their division opponents 4 times. And then there's some intra-conference opponents. There's like one division each year where you only have 3 matchups instead of 4 with one division and 4 matchups with the other. So I mean, we're talking like maybe a handful of games difference in different opponents that you really
Yeah.
face. So, I mean, I think it's one of those things that, and it's an ever-changing number because it's based on, right now, it's based on projected records, then that stat will be based on actual results throughout the season. And so that's an ever-moving target. And
Yeah.
so I don't usually pay close attention to that strength of schedule statistic.
It was interesting. I was talking about going into this season, kind of about a mindset, at least from a fan point of view. Um, we're not the returning champs this year. So we
Right?
don't have the added pressure of, are we going to repeat?
No.
And then, so I don't want to say expectations are lowered, but I think there's a little more freedom and a little more, they're never relaxed. But I mean, they're just not quite as much pressure on the Thunder as there has been. And it was interesting to see the number of national games that we have 30 instead of 34, like the reigning champs and all of that. And so to me, it's just an interesting slight difference and just kind of a different framing going into this year that I don't feel nearly as tense as I did before.
Yeah, I think, the pressure's really moved over, not even the defending champs.
No.
It's moved on to San Antonio.
Yeah.
And so they're the ones that now everybody's like, this is their year, this is their year, they got to do it this year.
Yeah.
And so really all that championship pressure, I think, is on them. I don't think that means there's no pressure on the Thunder. Obviously, the
No, no, no,
guys would
no.
would love to go out there and get it done again, and I'm sure internally they're putting as much pressure on themselves as ever. Like they
I just
know
don't
how
think
hard
there'll
it
be as
is to
much,
do it.
there won't be as much media narrative against them as much, potentially. I don't
I
know. I could be
it
way off base.
I think you're right most likely, but then if we go off on another 24-0 start or something, that pressure's coming right back, and certainly the odds makers still are putting the Thunder at having slightly over everyone else the best odds of winning the championship still right now. So at
Yeah.
least as far as where the money's going and where people are placing their bets, Thunder still have a lot of pressure to be the best because, a lot of people still do think they probably are the best team top to bottom.
I think so, but I may be just a teensy bit biased. Just a
I
little bit, though,
I
not a
do
lot.
think it helps not having the target on their back as the defending champs again.
Right.
The
Exactly.
the Knicks get to have that target this year.
Mhm. Yeah. But in the West, it's definitely going to be, all the attention on Wemby and San Antonio, and they're still going to continue to try to foster this rivalry between us
I
and
mean, it's
them.
it's a great rivalry. I
I was
they
shocked they didn't put us in the rivalry week
yeah.
against them. They put us against the Lakers, which remind me, didn't we sweep them as an injured team in the playoffs? I don't know. Maybe I
We
misremembering that.
sure did. Hey, we have beat the Lakers a couple times in the playoffs over the years. I think that's a good rival. It's Luca and the Lakers.
Okay.
I'll put them in a rival status. The first team to ever beat us in a playoff series was the Lakers back in 2010 in the Thunder's first ever appearance in the playoffs in Oklahoma City. Thunder took them to 6 games, though. A really good showing for that young Thunder squad, featuring a certain number zero, Russell Westbrook, who I think we should probably move to talking to now. Or
I'm
talking
trying
about.
to
I wish we could talk to him.
listen. Russ retiring and not saying a word, letting a video say it for him. I
Getting
Yes, Russ is retiring and I will never be ready for it. And oh my God, that's all.
getting an Oscar-winning actor, Michael B. Jordan, to do the voiceover of said movie. What great video. Russ, he's one of my favorite players of all time. I have like 3 different Russell Westbrook jerseys, including this one that I'm wearing.
Hmm.
Um, he was my favorite player pretty early on in his Thunder status. He took over, for me, he took over for Kevin Durant by like year 3 of the Thunder being in existence. Like, I liked Kevin Durant from the beginning. He was obviously a great scorer, but like after a couple seasons of watching Russ and seeing just the drive and passion with which he played, he quickly won over my heart. And I know a lot of other Thunder fans, and he gave us everything he had with the Thunder, and gave it every possible shot he could to keep that team contending for titles for years after KD left.
Hmm.
And, unfortunately, it never happened, but we'll always have that MVP season. And
Absolutely.
what a memory, just so many memories.
I just there I you talk about the game in Denver where he, broke the triple double record and Denver getting kicked out of the playoffs when we won, but they were chanting MVP to Russ. Opposing teams that are getting eliminated from playoff games were recognizing just how amazing of a player Russ was. And it was just something to see. And if you ever had an opportunity to go see him in person in a game, he never, ever half-assed it. Like he was out there and he was going. He had it foot on the gas the whole time. Like he always said, he had no friends on the court except for Spalding. That was it. You know,
I I was asked by the Four Quarters podcast, my thoughts on Russ's retirement, and I just said one of the greatest point guards ever and always worth the price of admission. Um,
always.
I was lucky enough to see him in person numerous times. Like I don't even think I could say off the top of my head how many. Definitely 10 plus.
Hmm.
Um, and I saw him in multiple cities. I went and saw the Thunder play at Dallas the first time I went to a Thunder road game, and the crowd there, the Dallas fans
Hmm.
were oohing and awing around me when Russ was doing great things, and like they were all like, "Man, I hate that guy, but God, he's so good and so much fun to watch." Like
Right?
same thing happened when I went to see the Thunder play in Minneapolis against the Timberwolves. Target Center fans were like, "Man, I love these games against the Thunder. Like they're hard to watch because we often lose, but Man, that guy's so good. And I
He
was always
was.
wearing my Westbrook jerseys in these instances. So I was just like, yes.
Listen, I mean, I know I'm biased, but there is not going to be another Russ. You know, 3 consecutive years in a row. I don't think so. I mean, just total. I don't know the records that he's broken. Wait, let me just read this. I just have to lay this out because there are some people that are being rage baiters and they're saying, "Is he first ballot Hall of Fame?"
Like,
Okay,
that's a no-brainer. Of course he is.
so
He's one of the
NBA,
75 greatest players ever.
yes, NBA MVP, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 2-time scoring champion, 3-time assists leader, 2-time All-Star MVP, 75th anniversary team, first in all-time triple doubles, number 14 in all-time points, number 5 in all-time assists, number 67 in all-time rebounds,
Oh no, you
first
cut out.
ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Absolutely. And on top of all that, all-time greatest guard rebounder ever, leads the NBA for guards rebounding in all-time career rebounds. Like, there's just, you name it, he did it.
Right. I don't know how much of it was, he's 6'3" and he's got that chip on his shoulder that he can do anything anybody else can do.
What
But I've been
I've loved the NBA keeps like posting different clips on their Threads channel,
yes,
just more like every
more
hour or
Russ, more
so
Russ,
they're
more Russ.
posting a new Russ thing, and like
And I'm liking every single one of them.
about
I'm
an
not
hour before we were recording this, they had a clip when he was playing with the Nuggets a couple seasons ago, and you can hear him. They're at somebody's at the free throw line for the Nuggets. And Russ, 6'3", is standing next to 7-foot Ivica Zubats,
Mhm.
yelling up at him, "You better box out! You better box out!" And damned if that guy doesn't miss the free throw and Russ doesn't out rebound Zubats, gets the rebound on the free throw and the putback for two, just right after telling him, "You better box out." And
There are
wow.
so many compilations. Now, one of my funniest ones of Russ is the Shackton the Fool inbound when he literally is holding the ball and walks in and he's pointing to the play, not realize, and then the whistle blows and he's like, "What?" Like it just doesn't occur to him that he just walked, a quarter of the court with the ball in his hand.
He just got so into looking at what the defense was, he totally forgot to dribble.
And the photos of Russ's plays throughout he is so photogenic. And I'm not even just talking about his tunnel fits. I'm talking about on court shots of just amazing dunks. And then the one when he was on the floor on the blue court where it was just cinematic. That's what I'm going to call Russ. Cinematic, from tunnel fits to his being a Swiftie in his car, dancing to everything. And he shares so much of that life with us, surprisingly. And there's just so much joy. And I could sit here and pick it all apart, and I won't, but just know that every Russ post that's crossing my feed I'm in love with all of them.
So, this will be the first year in the existence of the NBA Thunder, of the OKC Thunder, that Russ won't be in the NBA. He was the very first draft pick as the Sonics were getting ready to move to OKC. He was technically drafted while they were still the Sonics, but it would be about a week after the draft that the move was officially announced. He played that summer league in those generic Oklahoma City
Hmm.
basketball jerseys because there wasn't even a Thunder team name yet.
Nope.
And so he was truly the first Thunder. And uh, it's an end of an era. He was a one of one. I loved his feud with Barry Trammell in the local OKC media. Uh,
Oh, he gave amazing clips. The memes of Russ are just unending. There's one where he's sneaking the snack, which, and then there's the one where he's like, point. I mean, there's just so many. And then the after game,
what?
what? I can't repeat the rest of what he said, but that,
And that's still used as a meme so much by
oh
all
yeah,
kinds of people and non-basketball related stuff.
yeah, it is. I mean, it's so we know that his jersey is going in the rafters, right up there with Mr. Thunder, Nick Collison's four. It's a question of when.
That's right.
And then it became, will Russ get a statue? Hell yeah, Russ
I
is going to
think
get a
so.
statue. Now,
I
my question is when, but I made the point, we're building a brand new Coliseum. Surely that this has been considered of where they're going to put the Russ statue. Where is going to be our statuary garden? Because we know Shea will end up having one too.
yeah.
And I even asked Mayor Holt, I was like, tell me, did the city planners, surely they accommodated for this? Now, I have
The
yet to get a response, but you can't tell me
the
that
no
that was
response
not.
tells us everything we need to know.
Surely, though, I mean, come on. As much involvement as Mayor Holt has had with Russ and his investment in Oklahoma City opportunities, you cannot tell me it has not been a topic of conversation of how to honor him after the fact.
Absolutely. I think those conversations have happened. I bet the conversation happened as to whether, he wanted to sign a one-day deal and officially retire as a Thunder. That
Now,
might
I am not,
that
I
might
don't think
still
that,
happen,
yep,
but to me, the way that video was produced,
yeah.
that wasn't a video that was done in a day. That was a
No, 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 no,
video that
no.
had real planning. The word is that Shams is reporting that he had open contract offers with both the Kings and the Wizards.
Hmm.
Both had offered deals and, wanted to sign him for the vet minimum. He looked at those deals, looked at, what he wanted for his future. And he clearly, at some point early in the summer, decided he was going to hang it up and put his focus into getting that video put together.
Hmm.
You don't just get Michael B. Jordan doing your
Hey,
voiceover just, on the spur of the moment. That was a
I don't know,
thought
Russ could
a,
maybe.
a thought out, well planned kind of deal.
Yeah,
And I'm sure he was talking with Sam Presti during that time frame. And whatever he wants to do with the Thunder, they've probably talked it out. And I'm sure
probably.
they likely have a plan. And, he did it this way because Russ wanted to do it this way.
Russ is going to do what Russ is going to do. I mean, why not?
I had to be forceful on this because I've seen some people trying to like take the Thunder to task and acting like somehow the Thunder didn't offer him something to make this all be the way it was needed to be for his meaningfulness to the Thunder. But I guarantee you he had these discussions.
I am certain
This was
that
not spur of the moment.
I am certain that there has been ongoing conversations with Russ how to handle his legacy here in Oklahoma City
Yeah.
because they always worked hand in hand, and Russ is so important to this organization. And
And he
there's
was
just
just
there's no
back in Oklahoma City this summer for the groundbreaking of the football stadium that he's an investor in.
right.
So
And
I
so now
mean,
he can become an investor in the Thunder. I'm just putting that
so
out there.
surely, surely he had chats with Sam when he was back in town, and that
And
would have
I
been
would
around the
rather,
time frame. He would have already known what his plan was. Like he would have already been working towards that.
I would like to think that he's working with the Thunder on how to represent him with his, because there's going to be a tribute video when they, when they hang up his jersey and win best to do it and things like that. So they're not going to go into this willy-nilly, and I'm actually rather glad that they didn't rush something out quickly as if they were unprepared.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's been amazing to see all of the um, accolades from the other players across, and it's interesting because throughout the years you haven't heard teammates speak badly of Russ. That's always been Russ is a great teammate. Russ is a great teammate. And I I mentioned this. My mama would be so mad at me right now that I agreed with, as she called him, Drummond Green,
Hey,
because she was
Draymond
never,
on the court can piss off opposing teams and he does things that just make you go nutty, but he does know basketball. And
well, he flat out called out people basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically, you've been talking shit on Russ for 6, 8 years now.
yep,
Now you want to give him his flowers? Now? Oh, look at what he did. Oh, look at what
why
he did.
weren't you appreciating what you had in front of you that whole time? Which, for I'll give Kings fans credit. I saw a lot of them appreciating him last
Yeah,
year and trying to just live in the moment of like, you know what? Our team sucks, our season sucks, but we're getting to watch Russell Westbrook play for our team and see the amazing things he's still doing even when he's lost a step.
yeah. No, completely. And it's, yes, we're all aware that he has declined in his athleticism. And I'm still going to point to Patrick Beverly, who did put out a good wishes to Russ today. Good on him. He's still in my shit bag. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But it
Pat
makes
Bev,
it the
another one of those Draymond Green types that when he's not on your team, you just, oh, I hate that guy.
there's just one specific instance of why Patrick Beverly has my ire, and
we
there's
we all
nothing.
know it. We don't need to relive it.
Anyway, but the point is that all of this love for Russ is, and he took all that shit I'm cursing today because I'm so motivated by all my Russ feelings. I'm in my feelings today. But, he took it. He took what was being doled out about him, and he did not get, uber defensive publicly, and I
I
don't
mean, in,
know.
in LA, when he was with the Lakers, he took the fans to task a little bit when they were yelling at him and yelling at his
Right, but that's
family.
that. But I mean, the in general,
Yeah.
the Lakers' problem is because Russ. The in general, not the direct. Now, when you're calling out family, that's a whole other thing. And I give any player that has direct fan initiated negativity, go off.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah,
me.
for sure. But
I
yeah,
don't know.
end of an era, a true one of one. I mean, Shea will probably end up going down as the greatest Thunder player in
Hmm.
history. But man, Russ is right there. And we don't get to the Shea Thunder without the
Mm-mm.
Russ Thunder.
The day Russ re-signed, people were lined up out in the streets just to watch him walk into a building and sign a piece of paper
Yeah.
because they knew he didn't have to. He
He
didn't have to.
kept the team relevant and contending against all odds.
Right.
They, they didn't just lose Kevin Durant in the summer of 2016. They lost him for nothing.
Yes.
There was no sign and trade. There was no talent that came
Nope.
back to fill the
Mm-mm.
void. It was just one day you have this all NBA player, and the next day he's gone, and you got to pick up the pieces. And they had been running mates for about 10 years at that point. And it was just
Mhm.
like, okay, I guess I'm doing this myself now.
And he put it on his back, and that's what he did. Now, KD did give a very nice tribute yesterday. I will give props to that. And Katie's mama did too. She's always loved Russ. I mean, but
Mama Durant loved Russ. Like if you watch the starting five on Netflix, you saw some moments where Mama Durant went and made sure that Russ loved up on her before games,
yes.
even
Don't you
years
think you're not
later.
gonna exactly.
So
So it's been nice to see all of the love given to him. And I'm not going to say, well, I'm not going to be as blatant as saying, where were you the last 6, 8 years? Because people have always loved and appreciated Russ. And
my
I think it's,
experience being in opposing arenas watching him was that people absolutely still loved him. The real fans, the people buying tickets, all respected Russ.
yeah.
I think a lot of the online, anti-Russ narratives were overblown and represented a smaller portion of fans, but got a lot of attention because
Hmm.
they were it's our stupid algorithm driven society just lets us be driven by just the most dumb, bad faith, negative takes. Someday we'll figure out a way around it, but until
Yeah.
then, we continue to deal with that, just like we had to deal with last year with the dumb Shea narratives that were arising. And it's really, if anything, you should be honored when those narratives are arising because it means you're that good that people
Yeah.
need to take the time to come up with something negative.
Jay even came back on for his tribute to Russ. He actually went back online on old Twitter and like gave a shout to Russ because it's true, I mean, he's setting the tone here for culture,
Now, I
helping do
do
that.
hope they retire the jersey while they're still playing in the current arena,
Yes,
because I think it would be fitting for Loud City in the building that Russ created into Loud City. So
right.
I don't think we earn the Loud City reputation
Hmm.
without Russ playing at the level he was playing in that building.
No, I
Like
don't think so
he
either.
electrified that crowd. All of my loudest memories from that arena
Hmm.
are Russ highlights.
Well, and I just always loved Russ before every game. He runs out, runs to the corner, and gives a shout, and it's just, it's the
It
call
was
to action.
infectious.
Yes.
Normally you think like, oh, the players get the energy from the fans. It was the opposite with Russ. Like the 20,000 fans were getting their energy from one guy, a six
Yeah.
foot three guy, no less, not even one of the biggest guys on the
Mm-mm.
floor.
Nope. Yeah. I want his jersey retired before we leave. And I can see, giving time frame and everything, I could see Russ's statue going up in the 28-29 season with the new Coliseum.
As part
Like
of
to
the
me, that
unveiling
just
of the arena, even
um,
could be.
I would love that, but I think that might take away from either. Like, I want all of the
Right.
attention on Russ's statue and that event versus the opening of the Coliseum.
That's why I run this by you, partner.
Look, I'll take it either way. I'll be there all day, all night, whatever it takes if I see both of those in the same time. But I want all attention on Russ when it is a Russ celebration.
Damn
That
straight.
that's me. That's me.
All
So
right. Well, we have talked our listeners' ears off. I think this is probably a good stopping point. We could go on for Russ for another hour, I'm sure.
find me on Threads because I'm pretty sure I'm still going to be pushing Russ content because now I've screwed up my algorithm that it's all Russ all the time. Not that I have a problem with
That's a
that.
lot better than the other stuff that could be going through it. So
Yes, so I will take it. But we're getting closer. We are, we're mid-August. It's still kind of the doldrums, but
training camp's coming soon.
it is
September is just we're right around the corner now. So I'm not sure if we may do another 2 week uh break between shows again, depending on what other storylines pop up between now and then.
because there is no drama in the NBA ever.
It has become a year-round endeavor covering the
Yes,
NBA. Well, thank you all for staying with us through this end of the Russ era episode. We appreciate your support. Make sure you have subscribed on YouTube if you have not already. Subscribe on your podcast apps, wherever you may be. Give us those likes, give us those 5-star ratings. Help build up our algorithm and make sure we keep growing this audience so we can keep having a fun, inclusive space for Thunder fans who don't always feel represented everywhere else. And we sure love doing this and talking Thunder basketball with y'all.
absolutely.
All right. Peace and Thunder.